Hello and welcome back to Sarah's Spare Corner. My name is Sarah. I am the host of Sarah's Spare Corner. Sarah's Spare Corner encompasses gaming as well as arts, crafts, and different forms of creativity. Additionally, I like sharing theories, concepts, and ideas as I am a philosophy major. And I'm not poor in my travel places. And I'm a post about it. Today we are traveling to my planet Zoo World, where I decide to start with trying to make a really large lake. I used the squares that I had placed down to kind of format how much space of land we actually have to use, we can use for the zoo, I should say, pardon me. However, when I saw the amount of space that they actually give you, I was like, that is straight up overkill. So we're not doing that. So instead, I thought it would be nice to block off some section of this absolute flat land with some water. And I'm thinking we might do more with that later, but for now, we're just going to move on. I think what I tried to do, here's what I tried to do, is I really wanted the land to be covered fully in just rock because, bro, we on the tundra, you're telling me that there's nothing but grass underneath? That's just straight up a lie. So instead, I made sure that all of the area within the square box was rock material. And you'll see me do this several times over this fast video, is that I will go repaint later with hard rock. So now we are starting what you came for, Mount Crumpet. That's right. I thought, since originally this was actually what I wanted to do, was make Mount Crumpet from Dr. Seuss, I figured starting with actually the terrain would probably be a better way to deal with this, because I realized when I was playing the game and I wasn't happy with everything, is my biggest problem is that I felt like I was running out of space because I didn't really pre-plan the kind of terrain that I wanted to see in the zoo either. And plus, like, I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of the North American tundra, but it's not flat, like maybe in some sections, but a good portion of it is rock and landslide. Like, you know how much ocean is up there? But anyway. So this was what I wanted to do, is I really wanted to build up Mount Crumpet, because this is kind of roughly my first time using the pyramid stamp tool, or I should say the pyramid stamp tool, which I guess is not fully correct. I did use it when the zoo pre-existed, but I mean in a way where it actually wants to look like a mountain and not just a bunch of straight up pyramids. I did have a bit of an issue curling the top, because if you've seen Dr. Seuss's Mount Crumpet, there is a curl at the top. And so I was kind of struggling with that for a bit, but I think I finally figured it out. And then I think I also realized I'm like, oh, that looks too much like a hill. So how can we improve this better? So I think this is just me kind of fooling around, trying to build up the mountain, trying to make it look like, you know, not like your ice cream fell on the ground and now you're sad. And again, I go over here with rocks. That's right. We cover the whole mountain in rocks. Now, this is several sessions. What ended up happening is I made this and then I played for a few days of that. And then I got sick, for like a month. So I didn't touch this afterwards. But anyways, here's what I want this to be. I want this to be the ledge that the Grinch would look out. So I thought it would be nice to kind of cover this ledge in ice. You will see later that I also do cover in rock as well. And then I tried to make sure that when I was building this up, that there was a clear pathway all the way through. Now, originally what I wanted was a pathway all the way from the ledge all the way straight down. And you'll see why I decided not to do that, is I think right about here, yes, I start trying to actually build all the way down. And the truth of the matter was, I could not tell how far down I was going. And then I realized, I'm like, do I really want the guests to go all the way down? Because I don't think they would be happy. They would be complaining about their feet hurting. They'd be complaining that they're starving. They would complain that the cougars are too far away. You know, so I figured, no. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a gondola ride up to where Grinch's ledge would be, and I'll put an exhibit in there. I'll put a couple of food stalls, and it's just a really nice lookout area. So that is what this originally was. Now I was like, okay, what I'll do is I'll use these glass pieces that I used prior, and I'll create a dome out of that. Because again, I thought it would be nice to do a dome, because obviously you don't want to go on a lookout area this high up and not be, completely blocked off from the outside. Like you've got kids. You wouldn't want to do that. But then I thought, no, you know what? We're going to build our own glass dome or glass enclosure, if you will. So, and because when I made my glass igloo, I didn't actually have these glass pieces. So it was nice to actually finally have them. But alas, I kind of built them up this way, and I really liked the way it looked. I also figured, okay, well, maybe we will put the gondola right there. And I was like, well, Kane, that's not going to fit. You have to put the gondola there. And then I thought, okay, maybe what we'd do is put the gondola ride swirling around the mountain, you know, so that once you get on the gondola ride, even though you come up from somewhere, you can swirl around it so you get a good look at the peak. We kind of reshuffle quite a bit, but my biggest thing that I focus on is actually the gondola ride. Everything else was pretty smooth to work with. Honestly, mostly everything else took maybe an hour, maybe a little bit more. There is a point where there is like an hour of footage missing somewhere, so I'll let you know what it is, and I apologize in advance when it does happen. I guess I just didn't realize I didn't hit record. And then, of course, the beginning of this video, I deleted the Stargate, which honestly, everything going on in the Stargate fandom right now, it's probably a good thing that didn't air, you know? If you know, you know. Anyways, this was my plan. I was like, okay, well, I'm trying to think. When you come to a gondola ride, the last thing you want to do is make it completely unsafe so that people fall off the face of the earth, which I'm realizing now what a real gondola ride looks like. And I'm thinking, oh, this is still unsafe. But you know what? Maybe another day I'll fix it. But be honest, I put a lot of effort in this. I think it's okay. They are just cartoon characters. They're not real humans, so it'll be fine. They won't fall off the face of this cliff. Anyway, so this is my secret little house so that the gondola goes through and it protects the people who go through. Now, I put these bars up for lights because I'm like, oh, I could fiddle with so many different lights, and I put them up and I'm like, I actually hate that. But I saw these lights and I'm like, oh, these are way better than the ones I was using previously, which the ones I was using previously, I think were base game, and they were like flat. And then I thought, well, okay, we'll bring back in the color bulbs because I really liked those, but I think I decided I didn't want them, so you're not going to see them very long. But I think the reason why I decided I didn't want them is because they just didn't fit the angles that I wanted, so I think that's why I kind of got rid of them. But the other ones we go full into, so not to worry, there's still lights in here. So these ones I recolored specifically and obviously painted them white so that way they actually fit the wall. But I think it's actually really cute. I'm very happy with what I did here. I think we may come back to deleting the lights shortly. The cuddler lights, and then also the bar ones. Now I thought what would be nice is to have actual lights below that are a little bit more strong. So I made a blueprint. So again, this is a very makeshift kind of blueprint, but I really like the candles, and I thought I should do something more with them than just have the candles down. So I found these chains. So I figured they'd be like the candle holders would be held up by chains, and then this hook thing would hold it. But I didn't like the chains, and I thought it looked ridiculous. So I found these smaller chains, which I think I tried to recolor. Not possible. And yeah, I was very meticulous. I'm like, I'm making a blueprint. It's got to be exactly the same. If that's the case, we're going to be very detailed about how detailed these, the angles are on the chain. So, and I really wanted them to not look so stupid when they're hooking to the rope there. But alas, the pieces are what the pieces are. So instead I just duplicated and copied and pasted. So I was like, okay, well, let's focus now on building up the gondola ride from here. Now, here is why I couldn't do it. I don't know why I didn't think about this before. It took me like, what, 10 hours into this build? I don't know if I was actually doing this for 10 hours. You know what? I think it was a total of 5 hours. So, okay, so it took me like maybe an hour and a half into this build to realize why I couldn't set up the gondola properly. And that's because you have to actually finish the whole ride first before you can make the path system and everything. I don't know why I didn't consider that. It makes sense to do it that way, But I don't know. I plan at zoo? I apparently not. So I thought I would block off some of these more rock areas with ice, which I think really kind of, I like this. I didn't like how there were previous pieces in my previous zoo that were just always shining through because I didn't block off the path properly. So I really wanted to focus on actually doing those proper attention details. Okay, so here was another one, actually. I wanted to recolor this bridge with the wood color that I had been using previously, but again, it wouldn't let me recolor. So instead, I used the pieces from the donation bin and copied and pasted. And that is what we do here. We copy and paste and we bring it all the way down, and we also do it on the other side as well. And that's just so much better. Also thought, you know what? Let's color the gondola because I would like it to, again, match the color scheme of what we're doing here. So, yes. So, and then I was like, oh, right, I should finish the lights. Sometimes I start projects and then I forget that, you know, the thing I was in the middle of doing probably should be finished first before I trail off. But again, I love these starlights. I will swear by them forever. And so I was like, okay, I definitely have to add those in. And also these candle lights now, because now I have that incorporated. And then I was like, well, if I'm going to put lights on the inside of the gondola ride, I have to do it inside the dome as well. So I think I realized, actually, I placed them wrong. And I do end up fixing that at some point. Oh, we're on a pause screen. I was probably checking my phone. Anyways, so here we are. Yes, I think I realized that it was wrong. So I think I had to delete them, or I can't remember. But either way, this is me actually fixing the placement of the lights now, because I realized we're wrong. And then I was like, okay, we also need to add in those like colored lights that I really liked. The brown, like the wood wicker one, and then the one. But okay, so finally I'm putting the Grinch down, you know, so this is his home. You're gonna see the Grinch, and I thought it would be kind of cute if we place a sign somewhere that says like, where's the Grinch? And then it's like, oh, throughout the entire zoo you're looking for the Grinch, you know what I mean? So I thought it would be cute to actually have the Grinch in the Grinch space. And then I was watching this other YouTuber who showed me that this particular piece exists, this like fire piece, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. We're in the tundra. This would be really good. I think I ended up putting a heater in it, but like much later. And then again, I really want to build up my own thing. So I thought I would make my own fence. So I'm thinking, okay, we'll use this ice block. But then I was like, no, why don't we actually use icicles as the block pathway? And I love it. It's so simple. It's so really plain, if you really think about it. There's nothing special about this at all, but I think it looks much better because I was so confused what I wanted to do with the fence. I wanted it to be unique to the zoo. And again, I could have done like 1,000 different things, but I did this. And then I also thought, okay, well, you know what? I would really like flowers in here. Oh, you know what? We should use one of these ice blocks as a planter. So that is how I was able to get some more nicer plants inside here, because I made this planter box. Now, obviously not like plants that are just like completely local to the area. Obviously, we're on the tundra, but at least, you know, like in the North American hemisphere. So, and then of course, I was like, we need more decorations. Like, we need to stack this place with decorations. I hated how my caves had nothing prior, which, to be fair, that was because I ran out of time, but I digress. So I was trying to figure out how I wanted these in. Did I want them between the wreaths? And then I was like, nah, let's just do what we originally did, which was in the restaurant, which is we had these wreaths, and then we had the starlights in there. And so this is me setting up the little area for people to use the bathroom, look at the exhibit, and then obviously eat and drink a couple of things. And as I'm building here, I'm like, you know what? I really need to build a space for my staff. So I start building down. I'm like, okay, where can we put it? I'm like, well, the mountain's not very high, and we're basically about to go through the other side. So we probably have to go down. See, I told you I was going to lose my voice. So this is me trying to figure out a way down. So I start doing a curl on the way down. I'm like, okay, but here's the thing though. I need to see how far we can actually put this down. And then I was like, you know what? I should probably check the negative impact on guests. Good thing I did, because if I built completely down here and realized that it was, still reaching the guests, I wouldn't be happy. So again, I move a little bit further down, and it is still reaching the guests. So this is a different day, and I know this because this is, I think, the last day I worked on this. So we put the heater in the fire pit, and we keep only one fire pit. Then what I came up with is we're going to block off this area so that when we go down, we're blocking off the area that, and actually I think there might have been the pause here. So I actually did fix I think this is where the footage cut out. I did fix how far down the pieces needed to be. And I think I put up the buildings as well down there. Maybe? I'm not sure. We'll find out in a second. But this is me trying to level out the areas. And then I really don't like the idea of the staff going down all the way down and there's nothing but holes. And I don't know. I saw it in my last zoo and I didn't like that. How much like gaps there were between the paths and the walls. I just don't think that's a very appropriate. But if I'm not able to close it in with the actual proper walls, I thought I would build up a falsified wall all around the railing system all the way down. Is it just the staff? Sure. But it is also just a personal thing. I didn't like how much I didn't put attention to a lot of these particular details. And I want to intentionally do that, including blocking off some of these sections with rocks. Is it possible that I'll come back in later and change things? Absolutely. It's possible I might even come back later and change completely the guest area, because maybe that's just not what I wanted. But either way, I think it's a much better looking, and you're going to see shortly what's going on. This was kind of an interesting video because I was kind of I wasn't in a live stream. I was watching a live stream. So I was kind of in and out. Well, there was a bit of a pause here. Maybe I was eating. Yep. No. Yep. Okay. I think it's also just making sure I'm actually moving things properly. Yeah, there's so many pauses here. This is interesting. Maybe I'm leaving comments in the live stream. I don't know. Anyways, so at least this is one way to slow down, I suppose. To slow down this voiceover. So yeah, even though it is quite repetitive, it's literally the same piece of rock all the way down. I still think I really wanted it to be blocked off. Even if it's repetitive, I didn't even care. I was like, I just really want it to not have all this gap. I mean, think about it this way. If you're walking down and there's like space between the rock wall and you, I mean, what are the chances of, something dangerous might happen? So it's also just a safety thing I was thinking about. So again, lots of time. I think I spent 45 minutes doing this, just building up this rock. And honestly, I think it's worth it. So I'm not going to try to sell it on you anymore. I think it just looks better, and I like what I did. I think I originally had a bunch of rocks and ice. Like, I was thinking, oh, you know what? Yeah, because this was the deleted footage. I was thinking I'll put down ice all the way down. But then I realized, I'm like, I'm going to be honest. I don't want to do that. So instead I come back up to place down more lights. Because, right, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to place lights down this path system as well. That way the staff weren't walking in the dark, which was something that, I didn't really like in my original zoo either, is that how much I just let my staff walk in the dark. I tried to give them stuff and then also not really. So I thought, you know what? No, we're going to actually, when we're building something up, and specifically when it comes to the staff areas, we're going to build it up. So at this point, I think, oh yeah, I'm done. And then I think I realized, I'm like, no, I'm not. I have to put down all the facilities I want. So I thought, okay, I just need a staff room and probably a mechanic room. And I really wanted the path to be on the same grid. So I build that up, make sure it's all blocked off, and I also make sure that it levels. And it's like, okay, well, obviously if I'm going to have these buildings, I'm not going to leave the drywall up. So I'm going to put something on those drywall pieces as well, which I think what I ended up doing is I stole the pieces from upstairs, which again, I didn't show you because I think that didn't record, but I made these like really quick houses upstairs, and put the restaurants in them, and they kind of look like just a colored wood house. I think I did that already upstairs. I mean, these pieces already. I think I did. But I'm actually going to go back and change them. The houses that I created for my food stalls and my drink stalls. I'm not completely sold on it. I made it. It was a quick decision, but I think next episode we're going to focus on blueprints. So in that way, when it comes to actually building up staff facilities and buildings in general, bathrooms, whatever it is, we actually have a set of blueprints that we can quickly put down. And so this is, again, me building this up. Now, you will see that I actually come back down again because I think I realized something. Maybe I shouldn't reveal my hand before it actually happens. I mean, does it really matter? This is 36 minute video, fast video about the zoo. Okay, never mind. I guess I did record this section. So here, we're going to see what I build up. Now, again, this is supposed to be inspired by some houses that actually exist in the tundra of Canada. But I end up not really liking them. Like, they're not awful. They're not fully ugly. Like, they're okay. It's just... I don't even know if it's the right colors because it's in the dark, and it's also just... I don't know. Like, I feel like I could do more. Like, I want to do 3 different types of styles of houses. One of these, I want to do houses that look like houses that came from Whoville. And I want to do some that look like log cabins. So I guess it really just depends which one. Maybe I think the Whoville ones would suit better in here. So we'll probably build those ones up first. But either way, these aren't ugly. They're not awful. It's just they're not really attractive either. Like, they're not ugly, but they're not attractive. Like, it's a 5 out of 10, if you will. Anyways, so we're not going to get into logistics of that, but anyway, oh yeah, and then even though I know no one was going to walk down there, it's just more for an aesthetic purpose of putting down the rope so that guests can't go through. And then of course I go in with my gates because, again, I want it to block off these rocks, and I actually like that way more. I might go back in again, maybe put some stuff on the ground to give it a little bit more texture, but for now we're good. And then I, of course, go back in and change the toilets because I didn't like the way that looked. And so I was like, you know what? Like, let's actually put this. If it's going to put in a house with all the other ones, this one can be a house too. And to me, you know what it kind of reminded me of is camping in Ontario. How they have all these, like kind of more properly put together bathrooms. Not outhouses, but like... You know, I don't know. That's what it kind of reminds me of. I don't know if anyone from Ontario knows what I'm talking about, but that's kind of how I describe it. Yeah, so then I went back downstairs. I probably should finish this. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to put exhibit animal in here, I need a keeper room. Because how else are the exhibit animals going to be taken care of? So, yes, we made another room here. I don't know if we did anything else. A keeper room and... a trade center. That's right. We needed a trade center because it was like, no, you can't buy an animal without a trade center. So I was like, okay, I'll get a trade center. I'll get a keeper hut. And then that way we can put an animal down. Oh yeah. And I don't know why, but that fence just disappeared. So I was like, okay, weird. And now we are finally getting to the portion of finally finishing the gondola. And I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong until I was like, right. I probably have to finish the ride for there to be actually an entrance and an exit. Because I was trying to put down the fence. I'm like, why is this not connecting? Like, it should be fine. And that's when I was like, right. I need to finish the ride first. But just give me a second, because once I'm done fiddling for a few minutes, which I actually don't remember how long I took fiddling, I realized... Oh, it's here. Here is where I realized, yeah, I need to finish the track. And I was like, well, the track was really making me mad because I really wanted one half of the track to go into the track. I'm like, it don't matter. Stop whining. Just do it. Because you need to finish this track anyway. So, I think, how did I do this? I think what I did is I thought, okay, maybe we will make the tracks so tight around the mountain and maybe a little bit more wide, and that'll fix it. And I think that's how we solved the problem, is just making it a lot more wide and pointing it down further. And then, yes, now it connected. And then I realized what I had prior. I'm like, that looks ugly. So I delete that section. And then I was like, okay, well, we're going to have to build this up. So I decide, in order to figure out what I'm going to do, I go down to the workers level so that I can understand what I'm looking at and see if I like that. And then also I was like, okay, well, what I would like to do then is probably have the gondola, because originally my thought is I wanted actually a mountainscape that would circle around from the Canada area all the way past the Europe and Asia area, because it seems like a lot of more, I would say the animals in the Europe and Asia section are animals that like mountains, so we keep them there. And there's obviously a couple of animals that are North American that do like mountainscapes, so maybe we expand the mountainscape. I'm not sure, but I would like to definitely create a divide in levels in different sections of the zoo. So here is me putting this down again, and then I was like, you know what did I do? Because again, this was a month difference between Mount Crumpet and this section. So I was like, what did I do with Mount Crumpet? And I remembered, right, even though I put the pyramids down, what really actually helped was building up the foundation with just the pole tool. And then I was like, okay, well, let's pause on that for a second. I don't like how it looks. Let's build up this area. So this area is actually going to be a cave. This cave will actually connect to the cave under Mount Crumpet, but I have to go down and then up again through the mountainscape to hit Mount Crumpet. So I was like, well, how do I meet them face to face? Like, how do I make sure I do that? So I put a hole through the mountainscape, and then I was like, that'll be easier to cover up than completely deleting the area. But I had to know what direction I was coming from, and because I was leveling everything to foundation, I wanted to make all the caves look, not so trashy, because my caves in past have looked quite trashy. But this is actually quite hard, trying to make sure that you're going through the right direction with this system, because it's not like you can just, look through the mountain as transparency, like a transparency mode where you can look through the land to kind of know where you're going. No, it doesn't work like that. So instead, I had to kind of dig a hole down, and then based on that hole, dig to that hole, and then kind of go completely basically compass it in my mind, and I figured it out. I used this slope tool so that things could go down and then back up again into the mountain. And then I really wanted to smooth things out because I don't like the way it looks. And then, of course, I had to cover everything in rocks again because everything is all grassy and whatever. Which I actually do a few times. Because even this section here, I'm covering in rock. But then, or no, I'm not covering in rock. Sorry, I'm building up the scape, and now I'm putting down the pyramid mountains. And I'm definitely liking that because it does help build up definition a little bit, or I shouldn't say definition. It builds up the landmass a little bit, so the mountains are higher up instead of just a pyramid on a flat land. And again, I look at this at several different angles, several different times. At some point, I'm like, why does this look like grapes and less like mountains? But I'm like, I'm just gonna trust the process. I'm gonna smooth it all out, and then here I am looking at the perspective based on the keeper, and then that's how I smooth things out. And I determined, oh, you know what? I should actually build up this area more because it wouldn't make sense that we have such a big mountain, then a dip, and then more mountainscape. So instead, we're going to create one unison. And I was like, okay, well, based on the direction I was looking at the keeper, this section is a little bit more bald. So, okay, so we bring in pyramids again. And now that I've done that, which, of course, there's still a couple of things more to fix. Now we can go down this mountainscape. We can create another entrance to the gondola right here and loop all the way around the mountains to go directly there. Obviously, this might be a bit dramatic, but think about how many animals we're gonna have in the zoo, bro. Like, so many, right? So, and at some point, what I would actually like to do, where the water is, I'd like to have one continuous line of water in order to connect all the water in the zoo from different animals to the one central water. And then that way we only need one water filter. But anyways, now we can finally build up this pathing system and make it look good, because I didn't, again, like how exposed the rock is. Had to bring in some of these pieces to block off some of these areas. And right, and then I thought it would be best to use one of these pieces. Now, this kind of starts another can of worms, because I'm like, I really don't like the path. Like, why can't the path just expand? And it's like, no. And then what ended up happening is I tried to reconnect the path again, and it was like, no. Whatever you did the first time, that worked. This doesn't work anymore. So I had to delete that and just swallow my tongue. And just deal with the fact that I don't like it. So this is how I solved the problem. I put down ice in that corner, and that's how I ignored it. And then, okay, now that I have finished the gondola, mostly, I thought I probably should at least put this piece, 1, into a blueprint. So it is a blueprint now. And 2, I should probably duplicate this on the entrance of the gondola on the other side. Now, I do want to make another entrance at some point, but this video is not the gondola. It's Mount Crumpet and everything that had to do with Mount Crumpet. So I had to duplicate this, but I also had to pick up the gondola in the blueprint, deleted the ride, and then this is kind of how I was able to make the blueprint by itself, because, again, it was connected to the... But for some reason, it worked prior up there. Like, there was enough space between the gondola and the glass up on Mount Crumpet, but it wasn't here. So I had to take it up further away, space it out even more so that there's more thinner glass pieces on the sides, so that it's taller, because I guess it's telling me that the gondola can't go through, which I think it's the angle of way the gondola goes through on the entrance of the gondola here versus the mountain. So I think that's partly what it is. So instead, I think what I did is I raised it slightly higher, or I moved it in a certain way. I can't remember. I think I have to fix this later, but I was like, that's another day problem. And then what we're going to do is we're going to build up the path. But I was like, I want the path on the grid, so then I should probably rearrange the entrance so that it's on a grid that I like. So now when I come and build up the path later, it's on the same grid. That's why this is all very convoluted right now. Now I do this, again, this is a placeholder. I'm going to build up the gondola here in a different time. But this is just so that I can finish the ride. I can put on the entrance and exit. And we can call Mount Crumpet finished. Mostly. There's just like a couple of little things left. But mostly it's pretty much done, honestly. And we're going to have a good look at it in a couple of seconds. We're going to cover the landmass in rocks. And we're going to smooth everything out. We're going to build up the land so that it actually looks like a mountain and not just a bunch of weird grape hills or like pyramids made out of rock. No, it's actually going to be a mountainscape. And so we're covering everything with a nice set of rock. And here we are. I think we're getting close. Yes, so here's what I do. I build up this area with rocks. Now, I started using one colored rock. And I was like, I don't like this rock. This doesn't look like the right rock. And then I found the proper rock. And so then I deleted the other ones and replaced this area. I was like, you know what? We're going to build up this area. Should probably use proper rocks. Rocks that actually match the already face of the mountain. And then while doing that, we probably should build up the entrance to this part of the cave. We do not do the other side. That will be saved for a different day. But it is mostly getting close to the end of this video. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching. If you're new to my channel, my name is Sarah. I'm the host of Sarah's Spare Corner. Sarah's Spare Corner encompasses gaming as well as arts, crafts, and various different forms of creativity. Additionally, I like sharing theories, concepts, and ideas as I am a philosophy major, and when I'm at board, I travel places, and I might post about it. I think this is probably the last thing we do is build up this little pillar thing. I had a pillar in the other zoo, and I just didn't like it, so I was like, no, let's actually make something with character. And so I think what I'm going to do in the future is if I have a caving system that I'm probably going to set up pillars a little bit like this. It's not necessary. I think it's just more for decoration. And we get our turtles in. They deserve all the love. Of course, it's telling me, though, the keepers can't reach them. So at some point in, we're going to have to actually build a walkway for them. But here we're looking at our little village, which I'm probably going to change. Looking at the inside. Everything's looking a lot better. I like it. I hope you do too. But anyways, we're just gonna look at the mountain. So thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down below what you think. And the next thing I think we're going to tackle is blueprints.